I saw a similar post a few hours ago and wanted to ask. My 22F sister, 28F, married a man twice her age, 50M. She was the other woman for 2 years and got pregnant with my nephew, 1 year male. His husband ex-wife obviously kicked him out and his oldest, 20M, followed. I took them in 10 months ago after his wife won the house in their divorce. They asked to stay for 1 to 2 years unlit. They're able to buy their own house. I said yes because I honestly didn't mind. I love my nephew with all my heart, and my home, the family home, my dad left it to me, is quite big. Things were okay. My sister's husband always paid rent on time. His son was actually helpful around the house, and as I said, I love my nephew, so I was happy to have him and my sister around. For some context, I'm a sex worker, of and in real life. My sister knows about it, never commented on it, but until recently I didn't think her family did until this happened. My sister's stepson, whom I'll call Aaron, always had a mess in his room, and it was okay, it's his space, but I didn't like it when I noticed he started to leave food and drinks around. I don't want rats or cockroaches in my house, so I asked him a bunch of times, gently, to please clean his room because it was unsanitary and we live with a baby. He was always like, yeah. His dad and my sister asked him too until he and I fought about it, and I said that if his room wasn't clean before Sunday, I was gonna do it myself and throw away everything I find in the floor. He didn't believe me, and neither did he clean. So I did it. I hired someone and asked her to throw everything away but to separate clothes in a bag and food in other. When he came back and saw his room, he got so angry. He said I had no right, that those were his things, that I throw away like 60% of his clothes and blah blah. Then he threatened to tell everyone that I was a whore. I was taken aback and asked what he meant, and he said that he found out what I did and that he was gonna get a video, dunno how, and send it to my family because I was a bitch, and that's how you teach a bitch how to behave. He said that his room was cleaner than me when it was all fucked up and dirty. Needless to say, I kicked him out, and when my sister defended him and implied that I brought this on myself, I kicked all of them too. They had to crash a few couches until her husband got an apt, and she's claiming and telling everyone that I was an ETA. I'm not asking for legal advice or if I was legally in the wrong. Next story. I, 56F, am married to DH, 59M. I have multiple chronic illnesses. Our labor division had been me 36-hour week, 60% housework, 75% cooking. DH minus 60 hours week, 40% housework, 25% cooking, all shopping. 4 months ago, Mill was diagnosed with a terminal illness. I took over everything and was packing up Mil's house while working. My Mill is wonderful, and DH was always good me, so I never complained during this hard time. A month ago, Mill passed, and my husband sank into grief. He hasn't worked, hasn't showered, and hasn't eaten unless forced. I planned the funeral, stored things, and sold the house so DH didn't have to. DH has PTO, so I'm not worried about him losing his job, but I have tried to encourage him to get out of bed and come sit with me and do things. While Mill was still with us, I began suffering multiple acute flares, leaving me exhausted, dizzy, and vomiting multiple times a day. My doctor gave me meds and told me to rest, but I was still vomiting and had so much to do. Monday, everything gave out. I passed out at work. I was concussed, my head split open, I was covered in blood, I vomited all over myself and aspirated, and on top of that, I lost continency. The doctor said that I was so overworked, my body hit the reset button and I needed to take off at least 2 weeks to recover. I was mortified and upset, and I just wanted DH to bring me a clean change of clothes and hold my hand. He said he was too tired to drive, so my best friend Carol went over to pick him and the clothes up. I was surprised when she came back alone and said he wouldn't get out of bed. I said, at least he picked out my clothes, and she said he didn't, she did. I was in for several days for fluids, medication, and observation. Carol came and saw me every day, but DH didn't visit once and was tired when I called. Carol drove me home, she helped me in and told DH very sternly to take care of me. He waited until she left and then laid into me for leaving him for days, and how he starved and how the bathroom was filthy and I needed to clean it. I lost it. I started sobbing, which shocked him because I'm not a crier, but I screamed at him that I'm sorry his mom is dead, but he could have lost me, too, and he didn't act like he cared. I told him I was done because I worked myself to near death for him. He needed to get his shit together and help around the house again, not the other way around. He sat there in shocked silence, and I told him if he had nothing to say, I was going to call Carol. I'm currently at Carol's house and will be hiring a home care nurse for the next week so Carol doesn't have to look after me, but I just feel like an awful human being for screaming and devaluing the loss of his mom. But I also feel so heartbroken for the way I was treated. Edit. Please don't tell me to get a divorce. I don't want to leave DH, I just need space.